Hi, I'm Heather Hawker, President and CEO of the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra, and this is Clef Notes. I'm excited to introduce you to our musicians, guest artists, community leaders, and patrons who for 80 years have developed a love of music through your Lubbock Symphony here on the South Plains. Joining me on today's show is our featured guest artist for Masterworks 1 2022 Clyburn finalist, Clayton Stephenson. Growing up in New York, Clayton started piano lessons at age 7, and the next year was accepted into the Juilliard School's Music Advancement Program, a full scholarship program for underrepresented students where he lingered to watch student recitals and fell in love with music. He advanced to Juilliard's elite pre-college at age 10 with the help of his teacher at the time, Beth Nam, who gave him countless extra lessons without charge. Clayton practiced on a synthesizer at home until he found an old upright piano on the street that an elementary school had thrown away. That would become his practice piano for the next 6 years until the Lang Lang Foundation donated a new piano to him when he was 17. Clayton graduated from the Harvard New England Conservatory dual degree program in spring 2023 with a bachelor's degree in economics at Harvard and a master's degree in piano performance at the New England Conservatory under the direction of Wah Kwang Byun. In addition to being the first Black finalist at the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition in 2022, he received an Avery Fisher Career Grant in 2024, won the inaugural Nina Simone Piano Competition in 2023, and is a 2025 Spinks Medal of Excellence honoree. Clayton, thank you so much for joining me on Clef Notes. We are excited to welcome you to Lubbock on Thursday, September 3rd. And how did you move that upright piano on the street to your home?
Piano moving actually doesn't take that many people. It takes 2 people. You actually hoist it onto its side, so it's kind of standing vertical. You take the legs off, and then my place was on the 2nd floor, so these 2 amazingly strong guys picked it up and carried it up and placed it in my apartment, and that's where it still stands till this day.
Oh, that's great. How old were you when you found the piano?
I don't quite remember. I remember I was doing a middle school summer camp.
Okay.
And the summer camp was at this public school, which was renovating, and that's why they got rid of their old pianos, and I discovered it in the dumpster there.
Oh, that's great. I love it. That's such a fun story.
Yes.
Share with our audience where you are currently touring and what excites you about coming to West Texas.
I just returned from Montana, from the Tippett Rise Art Center, a beautiful sculpture park, and they have a very nice concert hall in the middle to play in. And so far, I've been just touring all over the world. I just played in Japan. I just played in Germany, in Albert Einstein's birthplace. I just played in Vienna. So it's been really fun to get to tour the world. But Lubbock is quite a special place, at least for me. I came to play, I believe, 3 years ago. And there I discovered so much Texas art. In fact, I purchased, and the recital series actually gifted me this beautiful picture of a tree. And from then on, I've just been so interested in this kind of culmination of different cultures that you can experience out there and just how art presents itself. I think what's so interesting about traveling is that you want to play to the audience that you're performing for. And so every city has a different vibe, a different feel for it. And Lubbock, I think just the love of art really stood out to me. And so I'm so glad to be coming back and performing one of the most exciting and radical, I would say, piano concertos out there, Prokofiev's Third Piano Concerto.
We are so excited to have you. I know it's just going to be a fantastic evening. We'll open with Shostakovich Symphony No. 5. And then the second half, you'll take over with Prokofiev Piano Concerto No. 3. So you credit community programs. We're going to dive back into your youth a little bit for instilling your success with the piano. Who was your great mentor while learning the piano? I know we mentioned a couple of them during your bio, but can you
Yes.
reflect on that for me?
I think, sometimes you have to be quite lucky in the teachers that you find. And I would have to say I am one of the luckiest just because the teachers that I've encountered on my journey through music have all been so nurturing, so giving, doing it for the love of the art. My first teacher at this Chinatown basement school, which my mom put me into as a kind of substitute for a babysitter, she, I think, was the perfect introduction to music for me because I was somebody who was, always running around, getting into mischief and trouble, and I didn't want to work too hard, and I wanted to find the quick shortcuts. And so she didn't start me off with all of these etudes and scales and this sometimes boring work that you kind of need a philosophy or a goal behind to understand why you're doing it. She instead just let me play pieces that I love to play. So, at that age, it was, Lightly We Roll Along, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, these fun things like that. But for me, it was just the joy of getting to play the piano. And so, I wouldn't really practice at that point. I would just play from beginning to end, beginning to end, beginning to end. And that was my regiment. But from the beginning, it was from a place of love. And so I'm really thankful to her for starting me with this philosophy rather than I know some other schools, it's like very, you have to do these certain pieces, you have to play them, you have to do a test to get to the next level, all this type of stuff. And then Beth Nam, she was really meticulous with how she taught me at the MAP program. And she was a PhD student herself at that time. And I don't know how she had all that time in the world to dedicate so much energy to the students in the MAP program and also do her degree.
Her own
But,
studies.
She worked with me on, I think, like 2 bars of music for 2 hours.
Wow.
And it's like that level of detail was something I never experienced before her. And it's that level of detail that really makes pieces come alive and interesting. And so, she was so supportive of me. And I wanted to get into the Juilliard pre-college after I got into the Juilliard MAP program because I was watching all of these pre-college kids play their student recitals every Saturday. And the first year, I wasn't really quite ready, but I still wanted to try anyway. And she helped me, and I didn't get in. But the second year, I really focused and concentrated, and she upped her lessons as well. And I made it. I became a Juilliard pre-college student at the age of 10. And from there was a lot of stuff that I still didn't really know.
Sure.
I didn't really know how to sight read that well at that point in time. A lot of things that I was learning was learning by ear. I was doing this audition for a teacher one time, and he tested my sight reading skills. And so there was one piece that I sort of knew. And so he turned to that page and I said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to fake my way through sight reading this." He's like, "Oh, you know this too well." And so he turned to something random and I had no idea
Oh,
what I was
wow.
looking at on that page. And
Oh,
so I think compared to people who had that traditional training, there was a lot of catching up for me to do once I started Juilliard pre-college. And there I met, there's so many teachers, it's hard to credit them all. But my first teacher at Juilliard pre-college was Ernest Beretta, this most jolly guy, and taught me really how to relax while I played. I would say, Matty Riccalia, he's an amazing pianist, and he just taught me all these ingenious ways of how you practice and how you maneuver through a lot of the technical challenges. And Lang Lang was always also a mentor when I was part of the foundation. He gave us master classes and lessons, and he was a big role model for me as a kid. I don't remember this anymore, but my mom says that he was once giving a master class at Manhattan School of Music, and I didn't want to meet him because I felt like I was not ready enough. My piano playing wasn't at that level enough to get to meet him. So
oh,
he was a big inspiration to me practicing all the time. And I think what's so fun and unique about Lang Lang as a pianist is that he makes the music seem so fun. He is having a lot of fun while he plays, and it really resonates into the audience. And so for me as a kid, practicing was fun and piano was fun. It wasn't like this chore that you had to do. And then when I got into college, I think that's really my kind of final and current mentor in piano, which is my teacher, Wak Kyung Bin. And she has, I would say, the most acute ear out of any person I've ever met in the world. It took a lot of time to adjust to that level of minute hearing, but she would constantly be, and she's Korean, so she's very direct. She's always like, no, 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 don't do this, don't do this. But she would be she would say, oh, why are you accenting this note? Like, why is this note so loud? So why is this so loud? And I would be there playing, and I said, I don't hear anything. Like these notes sound the exact same to me. But she'll always say this one sentence, and it's always true. So she'll say, go back and listen to the recording, and then you'll agree with me. And then when I go back and I listen very carefully, it's slightly louder, like
Right.
a tenth of a decibel louder. Like, oh, okay, that's what she means. But that's the level of precision and listening that she's after. And I think the philosophy that she instilled in me is, all my life, I thought that when you study an instrument and you become a musician, you're really improving your fingers, right? So that you can play better, you can play faster, you can play. But her philosophy is that you're actually trying to improve your listening. Because if you can listen more closely and then you can imagine what you want to listen to when you play more closely, then you can create that sound. It's not really about the physical mechanics of how you create it. It's about imagining it and then cross comparing it with the actual sound that you made.
That's the beauty behind it.
Yes.
If we could have all learned that when we were 7, 8, 9, 10 years of age, we'd be much further along. So besides Prokofiev, Piano Concerto No. 3, what else are you performing this year, and where are you headed after you're here in Lubbock?
There's a lot of piano concertos that I wanted to revisit this year. And so I'm playing Prokofiev's third piano concerto. I'm playing Beethoven's fourth piano concerto, which I don't know if I should say, but I actually hated this piece when I was growing up until the time I played it. And I sort of performed it out of, a vendetta, because everybody says it's the greatest concerto out there. And so I was like, I have to learn it to see why it's the greatest concerto, because I don't feel like it's the greatest concerto. And then I performed it once, and it's the greatest concerto ever. It really
Exactly.
speaks to how your idea of pieces can change over time. And so I'm performing that again. I'm learning a new one, Chopin's first piano concerto. That'll be pretty fun.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm going to go to Paris to perform at Salgavo. I'll do a recital there. I'm doing some recitals in Italy. I'm going back to Buffalo to play with their Philharmonic. So a lot of fun things.
You have a really busy schedule. That's exciting. At this point, I'm going to take a break. And when we return for our next episode, we'll continue our conversation with Clayton Stephenson. For season tickets or individual tickets to any of the Lubbock Symphony concerts, please call the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra box office at 806-762-1688. Mark your calendar for Masterworks 1 on Thursday, September 3rd. Prokofiev, No. 3, and Shostakovich, No. 5 with the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra. And the concert before the concert at 6 p.m. will feature the John Sprott Blues Band. It's a great evening, and you do not want to miss it. A special thank you to our producer, Rachel Boyd. You can find the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra on social media, and to purchase tickets, visit our website at lubbocksymphony.org. And be sure to download the Classical 105.7 app so you never miss an episode of Clef Notes. Make it a great day.